Let's talk about China and the emerging markets. We saw that the central bank of China has downgraded its interest rate for the third time in the last half a month. You think that could push further the emerging markets or the economy in China?
Well, definitely. I mean, we did see, as you said, another cut in Chinese interest rates. Obviously, the Chinese economy is going through a structural change, moving from a export-led economy to a consumer-led economy. That is definitely changing the landscape of investing, but at the exact same time, with regulation, it's opening up regulation in China to foreign investment. So we've seen a real rise in Chinese stocks this year, as well as across many emerging markets. Obviously, there's been a fear of what higher interest rates in the United States is going to do to emerging markets. We saw that play out in 2014, but so far this year, even with, as we said earlier, a recent hiccup, let's say, in stock market performance, emerging markets have been doing extremely well as China.
Yeah, I think that's true for the most part. There are some markets in the world which are relatively flat, I think, and that plays back into the commodity environment where the Chinese growth issues have basically led to somewhat of a decline in the growth in some supply economies in effect.
אוקיי, בבלקסטון מאמינים שלמרות שבחודשים האחרונים ראינו נתוני מקרו לא כל כך טובים בסין, זה אמור להשתפר, וכמו כן יש שם מדיניות, גם שם יש מדיניות מוניטרית מרחיבה כמו הורדת ריבית ותמיכה בייצוא ופתיחה של הכלכלה. וכמובן הם פרט לסין הם גם ממליצים על שווקים מתעוררים אחרים. I, as Israelian, how much should I invest in emerging markets from my, let's say, bag of investments? Case of investments, 10%, 20%, 30%?
Well, I mean, this year, a higher allocation is obviously warranted, but somewhere within, let's say, 15, maybe to a maximum of 20% of any type of, let's say, equity allocation, whereas a broader equity allocation would probably be somewhere,
and indexes, only indexes, right? Or maybe...
Yeah, I mean, definitely indexes. It depends if you're looking for specific types of, let's say, strategies that are going to focus on one particular style investing or one particular region, etc. But overall, I mean, if you're having, let's say, like a 60-40 equities fixed income split, you will definitely have a portion of that, somewhere around, let's say, 15% into emerging markets.
I think the reality is that with the QE that's been put into all the markets, the extra liquidity, investors, and the fact that bond yields are very low, investors have very little options. They've got fewer options. They really have to still continue in the equity market. Even if they considered rotating into other things, it's still difficult because of these structural issues. And of course, emerging markets, there are growth opportunities.
אוקיי, בקאסלסטון מאמינים שבגלל שהמדיניות האשראי הרחבה מסביב לעולם, עדיין למשקיעים הם חייבים להשקיע מחוץ, אם הם רוצים לחפש תשואות הם חייבים להשקיע מחוץ לשוק האג"ח ובשוק המניות, והשווקים המתעוררים יכולים להיות אופציה טובה למשקיעים בכדי לקבל תשואות. בתור ישראלים הם ממליצים לנו להשקיע עד בין 15 ל-20% מתוך תיק ההשקעות שלנו, רצוי כמובן במדדים. Now let's talk about gold. Last time we talked about the gold was on 1,150 for ounce. Now it's almost the same. It's about 1,190, something like that. And you said that you're very bullish on the gold. Is something that's changed in the last half a year?
No, I mean our outlook for gold is the same. Obviously, longer term gold prices need to be higher. There's obviously been some headwinds for the gold price as of late, but at the exact same time, when, as you were saying, over the last 6 months, gold prices kind of haven't really moved anywhere. But at the exact same time, if you look at what's been happening with currency markets, you can see how gold has actually done quite well. So if you look at the value of the euro, value of the sterling pound, value of the Japanese yen, they've all dropped in value, whereas the price of gold has actually held up quite well. And that's also similar with other precious metals like silver and platinum, etc. So we're actually very, very bullish for gold in the long run. Definitely targeting somewhere around, let's say, 1350 over the next year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, supply side issues are still in force. Cost of productions continue to rise. And really, we're also looking at the dollar easing off, and gold is benefiting from that. And ultimately, we're at a low price for gold. It will increase once interest rates start to rise at some point in the future.
אוקיי, הם רואים את הזהב ממשיך להגיע, למרות שהוא לא זז בחצי שנה האחרונה, הוא אמור לעלות בשנה הקרובה ל-1,300. בשוק ההיצע רואים עדיין שקשה להוציא זהב להמונים, והם עדיין שורים על הזהב, למרות שבחצי שנה האחרונה המחיר לא השתנה.